All right, Shalom. Kahalayim La Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. What's peace, love, and salutations to the brothers doing this work in truth and sincerity. Shalom. This is the brother Batak back again through the Spirit with another lesson. And Lord willing, it be edifying. That's going to be real quick through the Spirit. I was just doing a little bit of reading in the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, and I ran across something concerning the usage of bondmen and bondwomen, and just get what the scripture, get the definition, and the Lord willing, this is edifying. So, the word bondman, let's read the word bondman. It says mid 13th century, husbandmen. For the sake of this lesson, we're going to focus on this definition right here, which is a man in bondage, a male slave, a female slave, because this is something that's written in the law concerning Israel. We would have bondmen and bondwomen that belongs to the other nations. So they would be our servants. Now, when you go to the word bondmaid, it means a female slave, a woman bound to serve without wages. Bondman, a slave. And I'm going to prove that the scriptures speak about this. It says something about this, about bondmen and bondwomen. Because there's a distinction between a bondman and a hired servant. Hired servants were engaged by the day and paid at the close of the day. See, Israel could only be hired servants to each other, but they could not be bondmen. They can only be hired servants. So if you wanted to work for another Israelite, you couldn't be a bondman. You would be a hired servant for that Israelite. And it states that in the law. But when it comes to a hired servant and a bondman or a bondwoman, you can rule with rigor over the bondman or the bondwoman. And the law is going to say it, which I just read it. Just doing a little bit of reading, trying to determine a little lesson. And I stumbled across this little gem concerning slavery, because the world thinks that slavery is something that's bad. Oh, it's the worst catastrophe that ever happened. It's unhumane to have slaves, which really, it's really in the scriptures. It's in the law. The Israelites going to have slaves. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 25. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse, let me see. I'm going to start at verse 35. It says, why do I need to customize my do not disturb. Forgive me. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35, it says, and if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then shalt thou relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury upon him, or increase, but fear thy power, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. Right. So, but you can do that to the heathens, though. You can't do it to another Israelite. You can do it to the heathens. I am Yahweh your power, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your power. And if thy brother that dwell by thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant, which is a slave, but as a hired servant and as a sojourner. See, there's a different level. You can't treat your brother like that. He shall be with thee and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his father shall he return. So basically, I'm going to put it in simple terms. Your brother fall on hard times. You can lift that brother up by allowing that brother to work for you. or, until he get back up on his feet. You know, that's basically just putting it in today's terms. Verse 42, it says, for they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be as bondmen. That's basically a slave. They can't be as a slave. Salakia, bear with me 1 second. All right. This is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 42. It says, for they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen, which is a slave. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy power. So you can't treat your brother that way. But you can treat the heathen in that manner. You can rule over them with rigor. Because that's what we're going to do to the heathens, because they're heathens. The word rigor, it says harshness, severity in dealing with persons, force, cruelty, strength, hardness. And bear with me, kind of waiting on something at the same time I'm doing this lesson. It says numbness, stiffness, hardness, firmness, roughness, rudeness, be stiff. You don't got to give, hold on, it's strictness without indulgence. So we can be cruel to the other nations. We just can't do it to our own people. All right. So we can rule over rigor with the heathens, but not our own people. Verse 44. And this is in the law concerning Israel. The law was given who? Israelites. Leviticus 25 and 44. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, that which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. So let's go to the Leviticus, and this is in the law. So let's read the NLT. It says, however, you may purchase male and female slaves from among the nations around you, which are what? The heathenistic nations. We can make them slaves. We can buy slaves. The KJV of verse 45 says, moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which shall they beget in your land, and they shall be your possession. Precept comes to mind. I'm going to get it, Lord willing. You know what? I'm going to get it in my other Bible. Got 2 Bibles on here. Psalms chapter 2, verse 8. It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So if we possess the heathens, if they're going to be our servants, whatever your servants possess belongs to you. Verse 9 says, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. What is that? That rigor. We're going to be rigorous to them, man. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So let's read the KJV of verse 45. No, I'm sorry, NLT. It says, you may also purchase the children of temporary residents who live among you, including those who have been born in your land. You may treat them as your property. So that's what these heathens are going to be to the nation of Israel. They're going to be property. They're going to be a possession. I'm going to have to customize my do not disturb settings, because for some reason it's on, but I still keep getting notifications. But that's besides the point. Continuing on, verse 46 in the KJV says, and ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor. But we can do that to the heathens. It's perfectly legal in the law to do that to the heathens, man. Because ultimately we are above you. We're your superiors. And we're going to reign over the earth. And you're going to have to be subjected under the nation Israel. Verse 46 in the NLT says, passing them on to your children as a permanent inheritance. You may treat them as slaves, but you must never treat your fellow Israelites this way. Boom. Verse 47. And KJV says, if a sojourner or a stranger, well, hold on. Okay, so that's it. That's all I want. I just want to focus on those few verses concerning bondmen and bondwomen, concerning slavery, because slavery is in the scriptures, and yes, slavery is coming back for the heathens. Y'all are gonna be under the nation of Israel, and y'all gonna serve slavery with a smile on your fucking face, and there's nothing you could do about it. We are your lords. We're gonna be the kings of the earth, and yet the heathens are gonna be us under subjection. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 55. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So this was written by Ezra, which was a Israelite. So the world was made for the sake of Israel. You know, you heathens, y'all ain't nothing but extras. You was created to be servants and slaves under the nation of Israel. And the scriptures is going to say that, verse 56, as for the other people, which is what the other heathen nations, which also come of Adam, they came out of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So you're not nothing to Yahweh Shem Shah. You was created for a purpose, to be slaves, to be servants for his special people. Because if somebody has to be rich, somebody has to be poor. Somebody got to be the king, and somebody got to be servant. Y'all just extras in the movie. Y'all are what video games are called NPCs. I believe it's non-playable characters. You're just extras in the movie, man. You know, you was created for a purpose, to be slaves and be a possession to us. You know, your lands. Your children are gonna belong to us. You know, your women. Verse 57, it says, and now, O Yahweh, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have been ever reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, which is talk about the nation of Israel, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given unto their hands, because the Lord is fair. The Lord gave you heathens an opportunity and chance to rule, and he's going to give Israel that same opportunity once y'all are done, you know, and we're going to rule forever. So it's worth the wait. Verse 59, if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? I'm going to jump to verse 8, chapter 8, verse 1. 2nd Esdras 81. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. So we're going to enjoy the creation of Yahweh Shem Shah when that time does come. We're going to enjoy that, the possession of the Lord, you know, which is the earth and the fullness of it. Everything, you know. So we're going to enjoy the possession of Yahweh Shem Shah, and we're going to have access to slaves. We're going to have access to slaves, and that's why you other heathen nations was created for, man. So slavery is coming back in the earth, and it's going to be considered an act of righteousness when we put you in slavery, because you other nations have had our people in slavery, and you showed no mercy towards our people while we was in slavery. So what we do to you is going to be completely justified. You took our women, You had them as bed witches. Let me see. Still to this day, Esau got our women. All right. Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Did you have DoorDash order?
Yes,
Okay, what's your name, excuse me?
Cedric. Speaking of a servant, speaking of a servant, man. Hey, Kahalaya Bashuna Shah. Had a heathen bring me my food. I think she was an Ishmaelite. Speaking of a servant, hey, Kahalaya Bashuna Shah. So hey man, like these nations, man, they was created to be servants, man. She was so humble, and she had the behavior of a servant, man. You know, very respectful. This is the word bed wench. It says a low class concubine, often a slave or captive. It says an African American, blah blah blah, slang, derogatory, offensive, ethnic slur. A black woman who dates white people, often accused of seeking privileges. So there were women our women during slavery, that their sole purpose was to lie with the Edomites, lie with their men, and they didn't want to, but they was forced to do it because what? They was slaves. They was being ruled over. They was under subjection under that man, which was Esau, and guess what? The same thing is going to come back on him. So we're going to have concubines of the other nations too, because the scriptures speak about that. Went into that in my last lesson. It was a customary thing that, our people, they had concubines of the other nations. See, even Abraham had concubines. Read Genesis 25:6. And unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gift and sent them away from Isaac his son while he yet lived eastward on the east country. So even Abraham had concubines. So this is not a new thing in the earth. Having concubines is not a new thing in the earth. Esau just changed the world's perception on these things because he outlawed them. He made it look like it's something, an act of evil, but actually it's something that happened in the old days, man. The scripture says, seek the old paths. Let me get that real quick. She's such a good servant. She's going to be a good servant, concubine in the kingdom. Speaking of a concubine, Jeremiah 6:16. Thus said Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths, right? The old way of doing things. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said we will not walk therein. So everything is going to be turned back to where it's supposed to be. People are going to understand that the law, statutes, and commandments are righteous, man. And we can have concubines, we can have slaves. We're basically slaves today. When you own a corporation, You have people that work for you under you. They're basically slaves. They just put it on another term. The word job means persecuted, man. You working a job, you're still a slave. So it's just a new term for it. They just changed the term on it. So I didn't want to make this lesson too long. I just wanted to go into that real quick. I'm gonna bring out a quick slavery scripture because that's something that we're longing for. We want this to happen. That's why we keep talking about it, because we know the Lord is gonna do it, and also we want this. We want slaves, man. Who wants to work? Who wants to work, bro? I just lost track of. Hold on, bear with me. Papa Kasha, bear with me. Jeremiah 30:16, nice milk slavery scripture. It says, Jeremiah 30:16, it says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So we are going to be over our enemies. And according to the law, we can have them as slaves, and we can do whatever the hell we want to do as long as we ain't breaking the law, such commandments. And on top of that, that's not going to even be possible because we're going to be perfect in the kingdom of heaven. So with that, Lord willing, this quick lesson through the Spirit was edifying. Concerning, if you want to know if having slaves is in the scriptures, it's in the law, and it says it right there in the book. So we can have slaves of the heathen nations if we want to. So that's what it was created for anyways. The law said, the Lord even said it out his own mouth, man. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to close out. Shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah. Wa ba ba ba. Wa ba da da wam. Shalom.